All right, let's do this thing. We got our football prop. All right.
You're listening to Reading Between the Lines with your host, Drew Parker.
Self-destruct sequence activated.
Hello and welcome to the RBTL podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Parker, along with my co-host, John Starrett.
How's it going?
This is where facts are unchecked and bias is unfiltered, so hope you all enjoy. Just real quick, let me give you all a shout out. Our subscriber count has grown a little bit in the last week or so. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's gone up, so that's a positive. As for people that are just now seeing this and where to find it, you can find it on iTunes, SoundCloud, or on my Facebook page if you don't know what those are.
And I'll throw it on YouTube as well.
Absolutely. And since we've been gone, we have been sponsored, so I'll go ahead and run through an ad real quick. We were sponsored by Blue Apron, which is a home delivery service. Pre-packaged, pre-portioned meals. It's $10 a week per meal per person. It comes in a nice little nifty box. No going to the grocery store and buying, a big jar of mayonnaise. I don't know why I said mayonnaise. I don't like mayonnaise, but anyway, buying a big jar of mayonnaise when you only need a little thing of it. So it gives you exactly what you need, and it gives you step-by-step instructions. And cook time is anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. And believe me, I'm a bad cook, and I've tried it. It's 40 minutes. Like it's hard to mess up. So thanks to Blue Apron for sponsoring us.
Yes, thank you.
And giving us some sort of paycheck. But all right. As for that, this is the RBTL podcast, and here we go.
All right, I'm going to start off with the Cleveland Indians. All right, their streak ended at 22 games, and their 22nd game was actually pretty cool. It was the only game in which there was a tie and extra innings involved, and they were down late, and they came back and won. And there was people holding up signs with like Taylor Swift's face on it. It's like I'm feeling 22. I thought that was really cool. There are. But it did end at 22 after that 10th inning game.
So sad. I would like to see the streak keep going, but that's why the records, because they're hard to break. So
for sure. All right, are you ready for NFL time?
Oh boy, I guess.
That means it's time for NFL talk with Drew Parker.
Well, for all you Cowboy fans, I feel you. There's a little pain in our heart, a little pit in our stomach after last Sunday's game. The Dallas Cowboys played the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium, which a lot of people chalked it up to the altitude being a factor.
It's hard to do.
I don't think it's that big a factor, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, it's different than playing in Dallas.
It would more affect you towards the end of the game with conditioning
but you're
stuff.
Pro athletes. I mean, you're in shape. Give me a break. Sorry, I'm not sympathetic at all, and it's fine.
It's more execution.
Right. So the Cowboys fall 42-17, and honestly, as bad as that sounds, that doesn't even do it justice. It was worse than that.
Really?
Dak goes 30 for 50 for 238, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 2 sacks. He has 3 carries for 24 yards. 11 was his long, and that comes out to a whopping 8 yards to play, which that's kind of sarcastic, but it's fine. Zeke, he's been a big storyline coming out of this game. When you hear this, don't worry, you heard it right. It's an unusual stat for Zeke. He had 9 carries for 8 yards, and his long was 5.
Wow.
So that shows you he was pretty bottled up. I went into this game knowing that the Denver defense was good, but I didn't think they were that good. They got some speed and some power, but boy, they bottled him up. As for the receiving core, Williams led the way with 6 receptions and 68 yards. His long was 23 on 7 targets. Only had one drop or one incompletion. I'm not sure what it was, but anyway. Witten was right behind him with 7 receptions, 59 yards, 1 touchdown. The lone touchdown was kind of in garbage time. It kind of gave me the hope of we're down, but if I've seen crazy things happen, hence the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So his long was 12, and he had 9 targets from his 7 receptions. Dez was another big storyline. He was bottled up. What's his name? Aqib Talib was covering him, and he had him on the lockdown the entire game.
He's pretty good.
He had 2 receptions, 43 yards. His long was 35. I don't even remember that long pass play, but he had 2 receptions of his 9 targets, which is a startling stat. In my opinion, Dez is like a sports car. Okay.
Okay.
He's really flashy and really nice when it's sunny and 75, but when it's cold and wet and rainy and windy, he's kind of useless. You know,
Okay.
when you're when the weather's bad, you don't need a sports car. You need a minivan or a little reliable Honda Accord. Well, when you're playing about whether you need a running back who clearly did not produce and an O-line. When the conditions get bad, you go back to your bread and butter. And Dez, I love you, but I was wanting you to be cut or benched after that game because you're a dominant player, but if you're one of the top receivers of the game, you should be able to compete and outperform some of the top corners of the game. Which, yes, you've been covered by some top corners in the first two games. You had Janoris Jenkins and then Aqib Talib, which are debatably two of the top 5, for sure the top 10 corners in the league. But still, you're a dominant receiver. You got to win some of those battles. Oh boy! As for the rushing totals, we had 40 total rushing yards on 14 carries, which is not stellar by any means. As for the Broncos, Simeon looked like freaking Peyton Manning out there. He was 22 of 32, 231 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, which was in garbage time. 5 carries for 14 yards, and 6 was his long carry. So he's not much of a... He had more yards than Zeke.
He looked like a young Peyton Manning.
That's ridiculous. I mean, and C.J. Anderson was another reason why they won, because they had a stable run game. Whenever you can pull off 6-7 yards a pop on first down on the ground, it's hard to stop a team. C.J. Anderson is a running back. He had 25 carries for 118 yards, which isn't mind blowing, but it's just a steady game.
Yeah, I mean that opens up the passing game as well.
Right, absolutely. He had 1 touchdown, 20 was his longest run, and that comes out to 4.72 yards per play for C.J. Anderson. As for the Dallas D, they allowed 202 passing yards on 22 attempts. That comes out to 9 yards a play. 178 rushing yards on 39 attempts. That comes out to 4.5 yards a play, which again, that doesn't scream beat down, but when 118 of those 178 is one guy, it does some damage on you. And I also have written down, when Zeke isn't productive, Dak struggles. Duh. Because
that's true in general. If the running back's struggling, if the run game is struggling,
sure. and that's one of the reasons why a guy named Drew Brees of the Saints can't. I mean, he has a ring, but he can't be able to. He hasn't been able to sustain a productive season since then because he's constantly having to throw his team back into the game to come back. But here's a startling stat that proves that when you have a run game, it makes your quarterback play more productive just in general. Dak was 0 for 5 on play action and read option. Read option, for those of you who don't know, okay, I'll explain both because you might not know either one of them. Play action is where you fake the handoff, you drop back, and it's a shotgun pass. Read option is where you it's the same thing. You fake the run, but depending on what the quarterback sees, he can either keep it with the running back or take it off himself.
Yeah, he gets to read it.
Right. And I mean, Dak isn't like a Manziel by any means, but I mean, he still has some mobility, and he can use that to his advantage. So Dak was 0 for 5 on play action and read options. Simeon, who is, I mean, heck, he looked like an MVP last game. He was 8 for 10 with 3 touchdowns on play action and read options. So that's not okay. Obviously, I mean, I'm biased, but that's not okay with me. And so the time of possession, Denver pretty well dominated it. It was Denver had the ball for 33 minutes and 50 seconds. Dallas had it for 26 minutes and 10 seconds. Both teams had 2 turnovers. Cowboys forced a strip sack that led to this first touchdown, which tied at 7-all. So I was like, okay, we have a chance. I knew their defense was good, so we had to be opportunistic on our defense. Then they picked off Simeon in garbage time. Dak had 2 INTs, but still made the 500 pass attempts with 4 interceptions milestone. So we had 2 in that game, but the historic marker that he was trying to get at was the 500. I don't know if it was pass attempts or completions, but it was 500 pass attempts with 4 picks. So he added 2 on, but he already got to that 500 mark.
Yeah, that's a good stat, but I'm sure he'd take the victory any day over those extra stats.
As for Denver, what I took away from that game, I skipped the line. First downs, Dallas had 16, 12 passing, 1 rushing, which again, 1 rushing with Zeke. That's not okay. Denver had 26, 12 passing, and 11 rushing. Denver, in my opinion, has a championship caliber defense. As long as Simeon can do what he does, not so much of a game manager, because a lot of quarterbacks take insult to being called a game manager. But I mean, he on his interview on the field after the game, he even said, as long as I just stay out of the way and let my defense do the thing, we're a good team. And I agree. I don't know. I wouldn't call them Super Bowl contenders, but I would certainly call them playoff contenders. As for third down efficiency, this screams at you also. Dallas was 3 for 14 on third down. Denver was 9 of 15, which, I mean, every stat you're just getting destroyed on.
Yeah, it shows in the scoreboard for sure.
And granted, it should have been 35-17, but they had a pick six late. Dak was just trying to. I don't know if he was trying to win or if he still thought he could win, or he was just trying to make the score respectable. But Dak had a 103-yard pick six at the end of the game, which made the score look worse. Granted, it wasn't an even matchup regardless of that pick six, but that pick six made it look worse. Penalties were practically even. I think each team had 6 or 8, but the difference was only a few yards, so that wasn't that big a deal. It was just a beatdown. It really was. After we handled the Giants on that Sunday night, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, the Cowboys are good." Well, it turns out that the Giants' offense just sucks. I'm not saying we suck. I'm just saying that their defense had a number for all 60 minutes.
Yeah.
As for some other scores around the league, Giants get beat by the Lions on Monday Night Football. Giants are now 0-2, which is music to my ears. That drops them down to a 10% chance to make the playoffs. 0-2 seems like nothing in a 16-game season, but it'll pile up on you quick. Texans over the Bengals, 13-9.
Yeah. That was not a great game, but Texans won.
It was hard to watch. I agree.
For sure.
Watson's first start on his birthday, so happy birthday to him, and that's a good present for him to have. Chiefs over the Eagles, 27-20. Eagles are now 1-1. Brady's back. Patriots beat the Saints 36-20. Bears go from almost beating the Falcons in Week 1. I don't know if you heard about that. Mike Glennon basically threw 2 game-winning touchdown passes because they were dropped in the end zone. They went from almost beating the Falcons to losing to the Bucs 29-7. So who knows what the Bears are. Joe Thomas, we mentioned him in the last podcast. He was 4 snaps away from the 10,000 snap mark, and he's now at 10,062 consecutive snaps. That is like, for me, when I think of professional football and like who are my role models, I think of Witten. But Joe Thomas, do you know how hard it is to play 10,000 consecutive snaps?
Dude, you deserve an applause for that for sure.
No injury. I mean, it's even like something as small as your helmet coming off. Because if your helmet comes off during the game, you got to take a play out. So he's never been injured, never had his helmet taken off, never had equipment malfunction that made him leave the game, or if he did, he just sucked it up. I was listening to a radio show the other day, and he goes, "Yeah, the only injury I've ever had in my career, over I think 11 years has been, was he tore his ACL on the last play of the season. So he actually didn't miss anything because he was able to have the offseason to recover from that, which is nuts." A little fun fact of the Browns. The Browns obviously lost. I don't remember how bad it was, but they lost. Browns are actually favored this weekend at the Colts, which shows you how trashy the Colts are right now.
Shocker.
I believe they're a 3.5-point favorite. The last time the Browns were favored on the road,
I was wondering that. Yeah,
was 2014 at the Jags.
Wow.
So Jaguars, for those of you who don't know who Jags are. As for some other storylines, Raiders beat the pathetic Jets 45-20. Jets are probably going to go 0-16. A lot of people are thinking that they're tanking to draft a QB high in the draft, which, I mean, I'm not for tanking, but I mean, if I was a GM and I had no other option, that's a pretty good choice. Because the front runners right now are Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen from UCLA.
I feel that.
I told you the biases is unfiltered. And Sam Darnold from USC, or as I like to say it, Sam Darling.
Sam Darling.
As for some other scores, Redskins over the Rams, 27-20. Redskins are 1-1. Seahawks over the 49ers, 12-9. Seahawks offense is struggling right now. They spend a lot of money on beefing up the receiving core and their defensive line, but their offensive line is atrocious. Their offensive line is, I would almost compare them to last year's Tech O-line.
That's bad.
Right. Falcons over the Packers on Sunday Night Football. It was a good win for them, opening their new stadium. They won by the score of 34-23, and it wasn't as close as it seems. The Packers scored 2 touchdowns in garbage time. So, 2 weeks in, 2-0 teams looking pretty. 0-2 teams are hurting. But in terms of the massive amount of 1-1 teams, nobody really knows who they are yet. We'll figure that out probably week 6 or so. But obviously, winning is winning. Winning is good. As for some other storylines of the NFL, Roger Goodell is approaching a contract extension. But a guy that I know very fondly by the name of Jerry Jones is trying to stop it. Not stop it. He's hindering the process. I don't know if he has plans to stop it entirely. But he is very upset about the Zeke ruling. So he is trying to get the policy changed, I guess, or just levy the power that Goodell has. As for some other news, the NFLPA's
Page 2.
NFLPA's executive of something. I don't remember his exact title, but he's some kind of executive. He was reelected on a unanimous decision. It was a 3-year deal, and he will be in a fight with Roger Goodell over the CBA. The CBA, for those of you who don't know, it stands for the Collective Bargaining Agreement. It's basically the agreement between players and the NFL over safety, over any and every issue that can come up between the players and the league is decided in that CBA. And right now the CBA is trash. Now, granted, everything has its loopholes, but the players are quite upset about stuff that's being taken advantage of, I guess.
Okay.
The only problem is, the people who are upset are like the Aaron Rodgers and the Tom Brady of the world that have been playing for forever. The average NFL career is 3.5 years. So a lot of these guys, they can argue for something and get it changed, but it won't affect them in the end. They're still going to be living under the same regime, and then they'll retire before the new CBA even comes up. As for the CBA talk, D. Smith, who is the executive that I mentioned just a little bit ago, said that because of the stalemate of the CBA agreement, a holdout in 2021 is virtually inevitable. So we might have some less NFL to watch in 2021. Hopefully I'll be out of college then. Jokes. It's fine. Other than that, before we transition to college football, I'll mention our sponsors, Blue Apron, one more time. Or not one more time. I'm doing it at the end as well. Again, Blue Apron is a meal delivery service, pre-packaged, pre-portioned meals. You don't have to go to the grocery store and buy massive amounts of quantities when you just need a pinch of something. It delivers right to your door. Anything that needs to be refrigerated is refrigerated in their ice boxes, whether that's meat or poultry, or poultry is still meat. It's fine. It's I think it's $60, which sounds like a lot for college students, but for people who have money, shout out.
Yeah, divide that up,
right,
and it's worth it.
Right, and it comes out to $10 a person per meal, and I've tried it once per personal experience, and they say that it takes 30 to 40 minutes to cook the meals, and even if you're a bad cook, it's hard to mess it up because they give you step-by-step instructions, and the ingredients are all laid out in front of you, delivered right to your door. So for people who don't know how to eat healthy, or B, don't have time to eat healthy, this is a perfect service for you. BlueApron.com for more information on that. But without further ado, let's transition to the wacky and wild world of college football.
All right, college football. I'm going to talk about slow starts and interesting games last weekend. Get it? Slow starts like an elephant.
Everything else is irrelevant.
Dude, that was really good on the spot. Okay, first game, Michigan versus Air Force. It was 9-6, Michigan at half. They talk about a slow start and a good fight. Air Force was really fighting them, but Michigan did go on to win 29-13. Texas A&M was losing to the Ragin' Cajuns at halftime, 21-14, but they eventually went on to win 45-21.
That's a beatdown in the second half.
I mean, yeah, but that was a really slow start for A&M over the Ragin' Cajuns.
Dang, Aggies winning all the time.
TCU also had a slow start at SMU. They scored late in the second quarter, but late in the second quarter, it was 22-21. SMU was leading. And then the last second, basically,
Wow.
TCU put up a touchdown right before the half, gave them all the momentum, and then eventually took a big lead. But going into the fourth quarter, the score was 29-35. TCU was not destroying them until the end.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
And that's another one. Here's something that I found hilarious. Baylor still sucks. Man, we talked about it last week. There was a 14-point spread, and you thought that was...
I thought that was ridiculous.
You thought that was a crazy line.
Right.
That no way that they should have a 14-point spread.
And how much did they lose by, John?
They lost 34-20 by 14 points.
Right. That's ridiculous.
Here's what I think about that.
Oh, Baylor.
Oh, Baylor, yeah. Okay, Florida State. They're ranked number 12. They're 0-1 with that one loss to Alabama, and they haven't won a game in week 4, and yet they're ranked 12th. I don't know the last time there's been a team that has not won a game.
And their starting quarterback is out for the season.
And their starting quarterback's out for the season. And so I think that's pretty nuts that they're ranked 12th. They don't have a win. It's week 4. They had Miami postponed. UL Monroe was canceled completely. And it sounds like they might replace the Delaware State game with the Miami game to fit that in. That's a possibility.
That hurricane stuff is hurting people.
Yeah,
obviously
nuts.
there's bigger deals in life than sports. But in terms of what we talk about and what we're paid to talk about now,
no,
holla,
100%, 100% agree.
It's just the hurricane is screwing up a lot of sports stuff. I mean, a lot of teams that's a playoff caliber team, and it's screwing up their potential. It's
potentially screwing up their potential. I love that.
Thanks for catching that, John.
No, I got you.
But it's
poor
just,
Florida State, man. First of all, their quarterback's gone, and then
right.
they have to deal with all this. But we'll see what their season turns out. Texas versus USC.
Woo.
Man, we need to discuss this game. This needs its own segment, basically.
Shout out to USC beating those Longhorns.
We thought there was going to be a beatdown. And tell me a little bit about that game.
Well, I thought they were gonna win by 30. I mean, I think I said it even on here. I thought it was gonna be no. I mean, it was in USC, but yet Texas is consistently inconsistent.
We don't know what to expect.
Right, you have no idea, and it went into overtime. It was a stalemate for most of the game. I didn't watch the whole game in its entirety. I just saw the highlights. But I mean, whenever it's 17-all going into overtime, that's a defensive game. I don't know about you. I'm not from the Big 12. I'm not used to seeing that kind of game.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
And then overtime starts, and they just pop out 2 touchdowns right off the bat. Boom, boom. I don't know who to what or what to who, but 2 touchdowns. And then I don't remember his name, but the UT quarterback, not Bouchel, but the new guy.
Ellinger or something.
Right, it sounds familiar. He was trying to sneak it in. He's a big guy, but there was no chance he was getting across that line. He was trying to sneak it into the end zone for a touchdown to go ahead and give the UC the ball back. And he got completely ripped the ball out. I mean, it was a brutal rip. And ball pops out, USC recovers, and then on the next drive, USC has a dime of a pass. Granted, it's dropped. He dives out for it, and he catches it, but the ground helps him secure the catch. And for those of y'all who don't know, Cowboy fans are well aware of this rule.
That means
I think Dez still caught it, but it's fine.
I do too, and I'm not even a Cowboys fan, but that was a rule problem,
right? And so he drops it, and so they ended up kicking a 43-yard field goal, which isn't a gimme for some college kickers. So,
also, wasn't he a freshman?
Yes.
Coming into one of his first long kicks of the year.
And for those who don't know, one of the best stories in college football right now, the long snapper for the field goal team is a blind kid. Mm-hmm. I don't remember his name, but he got
a snap in kind of garbage time. But,
yeah.
But it was a really cool story to see his.
Shout out to him for sure.
His work come to fruition.
And then in terms of rankings, I'll go through them real quick.
Yeah. The last game before we get to rankings, Florida State versus Tennessee. There was a crazy Hail Mary, and it may have been
it was Tennessee. I'm sorry, Florida, not Florida State.
Did I say Florida State? Yeah. Sorry, Florida versus Tennessee. The Gators had a last-second Hail Mary over Tennessee, who was not playing prevent defense at the end of a game on the last play that Florida had.
The only rule at the end of the game is not let anybody get behind you. What did he do? Got behind him.
And yeah, they weren't playing deep, which was really weird to me. And He ended up throwing that ball like 66
Right.
yards or something ridiculous
And
over
it
60.
wasn't even a Hail Mary. It was just a pass. I mean, it wasn't a jump ball like Hail Marys usually are. It was a dime right in his arms.
Whenever you see the safety not there, you're
Right.
like, throw it across
And,
the middle.
I looked at the play a little bit more, and obviously it sucks that they lost in that fashion. But there was a guy about 10 yards back and a guy about 30 yards back, and somehow the coverage got mixed up, and the guy who was supposed to be on the receiver, the corner, guarded the flat because the guy in the
He
flat
pulled
was
back
open.
into the flat.
Right. So he was playing he was.
But it's the last play of the game.
If it wasn't the last play of the game, the guy did
Yeah.
the right play, but he just wasn't aware of the situation. I thought that was that'll plant Butch Jones squarely on the hot seat.
Dude, if he's, not
Right.
only on the hot seat, but very close to being fired.
I mean, it sucks that you lose that way because you played a good game, but a loss is a loss.
Definitely.
As for some rankings, I'll go through the coaches poll and the AP top 10. AP top 10 this is ordered from 1 to 10. Bama, Clemson, Oklahoma, Penn State, USC, Oklahoma State, Washington, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio State. The coaches poll has a little bit of twist in the ordering. Top 4 is the same: Bama, Clemson, Oklahoma, and Penn State. USC, Washington, Oklahoma State, Michigan, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. I mean, look at that.
Wisconsin's good.
3 Big Ten teams in the back half of that top 10. That's going to be a crazy conference to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you got two Big 12 foes in Oklahoma and Oklahoma State at the top. And I'm not jumping. I don't want to jump the gun here, but after we play U of H, Oklahoma State comes waddling into town, and they're a highly ranked team. So it's going to be a hyped up game. Other notable rankings: TCU is again sneaky at 16. 16 is not far from 10, but they just keep winning.
Yeah, they do.
They don't win. They don't win pretty, but they win. Washington State. I bring this up because I'm a fan of Mike Leach, and he coaches there now. Washington State is 18, and Mississippi State is 17 after destroying LSU at home. LSU, I mean they weren't a playoff caliber team, but they were still good, and Mississippi State just blew them away, 37-7.
Wow.
In terms of some Big 12 scores, Oklahoma over Tulane, 56-14. USC over Texas in an overtime thriller, 27-24.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State over Pitt, 59-21. Vanderbilt over K-State, 14-7. Shout out to Vanderbilt. TCU over SMU, 56-36. Kansas loses to Ohio, but what's new? 42-30. West Virginia over Delaware, Delaware State, 59-16. Iowa State over Akron, 41-14, and Duke over Baylor, which makes Duke 0-3. No, sorry, not Duke. Baylor 0-3, 34-20. That's a sad story. Other notable scores: Clemson destroys Louisville.
I don't know what we said on that game. I feel like we said that Louisville had a shot, or
I thought Clemson was going to pull it out.
Okay.
Wait,
I don't remember
just
what
kidding.
we said.
I
think we said Louisville.
I think I took Louisville at home.
Or like a close game.
Right. So it was in Louisville, and apparently, Deshaun Watson leaving doesn't do anything because what's his name? Not Watkins. Anyway,
whoever that quarterback is.
Whoever their freshman quarterback is, he's a baller. Clemson destroys Louisville 47-21, and the game wasn't even that close.
It never felt like it was out of hand.
Lamar Jackson is not known to be emotional or display his feelings, but he seemed visibly frustrated.
Flustered,
Like I said, Mississippi State over LSU 37-7. Florida wins on a last play Hail Mary over Tennessee. Memphis over UCLA 48-45. I was curious of this game because Josh Rosen is in the Heisman conversation now after that A&M game. Now, a loss doesn't kill your chances at the Heisman because obviously putting at 45, you still ball out as a quarterback.
Okay.
But that was a crazy game. Nobody can stop anybody. And like you said,
we know that all too well here.
Right. Scoring 55 and losing, it's fine. And then
Not this year.
right. And then like John said, Florida State and Miami was postponed. So without further ado, let's get into what we came here for, John.
Well, we have interesting games this weekend.
Oh, right.
Coming up. Okay, we're still in college football, and I wanted to go through some interesting games that we're going to come into this weekend. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. We have number 16, TCU, at number 6, OSU. Oklahoma State, they are favored by 11, and it's a 2:30 p.m. kickoff. What do you think?
Were they playing in Stillwater?
Yeah,
11:30 kickoff?
2:30.
2:30.
And it's 11-point swing for Oklahoma State. Do you think they cover that?
I think they cover that.
I think so, too.
I think they cover that pretty easily also. I think it's 20 points.
Here's one that kind of makes me laugh. OU at Baylor, plus 26. OU
That's
on the road.
low. Duke
I'm
is 14 and OU is 26.
I'm taking OU to break that spread over 26.
I'll take
over
OU to
Baylor.
put 40 on them.
And that's a 5:30 p.m. game. Here's a game that I think could be really interesting. Texas A&M versus Arkansas. They're at Jerry World.
Texas A&M against Arkansas. Okay.
They're at Jerry World. Arkansas is a 2.5-point favorite. It's 11 a.m. game. So we don't know what to expect out of this game. It's in Jerry World, 11 a.m., and it's a very close line. I don't know who's going to pull that out. I really don't.
Gosh, Vegas knows what they're doing, don't they? Who's it again? Sorry, it's
Arkansas, Texas A&M.
and Texas A&M, and Arkansas is a 2.5-point favorite.
Yes.
Oh, I think A&M loses, but doesn't cover the spread.
Okay. You think you have A&M
Hot
losing?
take.
I'll take Arkansas winning that game.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but maybe by a field goal, maybe by 2
Right.
touchdowns. Because Texas A&M struggled with the Raging Cajuns. So,
Sad.
so all right, Mississippi State, number 17, at number 11, Georgia. And that's just a cool, SEC.
I'll take Georgia all the way.
Yeah, Georgia has a 7-point
Georgia has a
line.
heck of a defense.
And it's an evening game, a 6 p.m. game at Georgia.
What's
I'm
the
taking
spread
Georgia.
on it?
7.
7. I bet they cover.
Yeah, I think so too. What's the quarterback name? Easton or something?
No idea.
Jacob Easton. He's good. That's about it for interesting games this weekend. Now, the thing that we really have come here for is Texas Tech.
Absolutely.
Before we get into the game this week, I just wanted to kind of run through some fun facts, miscellaneous Tech facts. It's just miscellaneous. I don't know why I did that. But Tech receives 4 votes. We're talking about rankings a second ago for being a top 25 team. It was the same after week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so 38 ranked, just like
Right.
we were before. CBS polls rank Tech now 57. Remember last week we were 60-something or 60. So we moved up a little bit, and now ASU is ranked 87. So they dropped quite a bit in that.
Wow.
But hear this out. They ranked U of H 38th in this poll.
Oh, that hurts me.
What do you think about that?
I think that they're writing the name of them is writing on their defense.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, the defense is good. But I would say it's a little bit high, but not too much.
Okay. So the same poll has University of Arizona, the team that U of H beat, ranked 66th. So we're higher ranked
Okay.
than that team, and they barely lost to U of
Right.
H. So just by thinking about it that way, we don't know what to expect in this game,
Right.
but if we're better than Arizona and Arizona barely lost to U of H, there's always a chance. So a poll on ESPN said, which Big 12 player had the week's best performance? And Mason Rudolph took the lead with 52%.
Figures.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Right.
But second place was Nick Shimonek, our own Texas Tech quarterback, came in second with 24% of the votes.
All right. It wasn't he giving us an award this week, John?
Yes, and I forgot the names, like Tyler Rose, Earl Campbell,
It was something
player
Earl,
of
it was
the week.
something Earl Campbell. I know
Yeah.
that.
Like the Tyler Rose player of the week. So did you know this? Shimonek is third in the nation in QBR, behind only 2 quarterbacks in the Big 12, where the only 2 people are ahead of him, Mason Rudolph and Baker Mayfield.
Boy, those 2 names to be behind by. I can't stand that.
Those are the 3 highest quarterback rankings.
Hey, you know what? 3 Big 12 guys, the top 3, I'll take that all day.
And ESPN had a power ranking thing that came out and still ranks Tech 7th in the Big 12 in week 3.
Gosh, are you kidding me?
We get some bias
I
against us.
guess only 2 weeks down, but
Yeah, so I think a win at
behind
Houston
us,
will bump us
Iowa
up.
State, Kansas, and Baylor.
I
I assume.
know that I think
gotta be-
Texas
it's
is
gotta be-
behind us too.
Real? Oh,
And I think
okay.
I
I can
don't
believe
know.
that.
I don't remember which way it was flipped.
Right.
It's flipped. Let's see. So yeah, ESPN had us Tech ranked 7th. Jadion High was named the Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Week because he got a blocked punt, and that was like a huge momentum
that
swing.
was an amazing play.
You know,
I
the
love
craziest
seeing
thing about that was he wasn't even on the special teams
Really?
package. Someone got injured. I don't remember who it was, and they just threw him in there at the last second.
They got the crowd back into it for sure.
People were confused, thinking it was like a fake because no
Right.
one blocked the guy up the middle. And so he ran through and got a hand on it, blocked it. We came down with the ball, and that's all that matters. So that's why he was a Special Teams Player of the Week. Okay, now I have it here. Nick Shimanek was awarded the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Player of the Week. He had 6 touchdowns, 543 yards, and was 37 for 50 passing. That's enough to get you an award.
Yeah,
And I
I'd
think
say
that
so.
that award goes out to like the best player in Texas or from Texas. And that's pretty cool. In less exciting news, Payne Solons, our 4th-string quarterback, left the team. Best of luck to him and wherever he goes,
Yeah,
but you know he
absolutely.
wasn't going to get any
Right,
playing
no,
time here. I did get to see him in a little bit of action a few years ago, but yeah, no, he's best of luck to Payne. And just on a more serious note, prayers for the Nunez family.
See, I don't know about that. Tell me a little more. I didn't see that story about that.
I don't know in detail what's happened, but he's a defensive tackle, Taylor Nunez. He went home to be with his father, hang out with his father because it seems like he's seriously ill.
Okay.
Either had some sort of cancer, gallbladder, or something.
For sure.
Some sort of problem that is very serious, and he might die. So prayers go out to the Nunez family, and yeah. So
For sure.
wish them all the best. Okay. So are you ready to go on to game notes from ASU?
Absolutely.
All right,
Want me to roll right into it?
Let's see how this works real quick.
And Mason Reed and Nesby in the game, and they go to Cantrell. Touchdown, running play by the big receiver.
All right, and what you just heard was the Dylan Cantrell touchdown that put us up in the fourth quarter.
That was that. I was not confident in that play call because you have Nisby and Stockton in the backfield, right, on that play, both of them.
That was like the brilliance of it too.
Right.
Is the fact that like it was supposed to be a power run play.
I didn't realize how much speed Cantrell had to get it on that edge. Honestly.
Yeah, if you put any other of our receivers, I'm not confident they make it. But you
Right.
take a guy that's been in the
Willie's
strength.
is fast.
You take a guy who's been in the strength program for as
Right.
long as Cantrell has in his 5th year here at Tech,
Right.
and like the dude's strong, and he's pretty fast too. And so, man, it was the play. It was the play that made the game. So, okay, you want to walk through your ASU game notes?
Yeah. To get into some game stats, Shimanek went 37 of 50 for 543, 6 touchdowns and no picks. That comes out to 14.5 yards of play. Not too shabby. We only had 72 yards rushing. That's Shimanek got sacked a few times, which hurt that average. But without without Shimanek, we're at 96 rushing yards for the game. That puts us at 615 total yards for Tech. As for our defense, we allowed 326 passing yards, which is more than I'd want. But
More than anyone wants.
right. On Wilkins, 27 of 41, 3 touchdowns, no picks. That comes out for Wilkins as 12 yards per play. We allow 168 rushing yards on 44 carries, which I don't mind that at all. That comes out to just shy of 4 yards of play.
Yeah, that's huge.
And all that adds up to just under 500 total yards for ASU. Time of possession, ASU actually beat us, which I was kind of surprised about.
Yeah, I had that stat too.
Right. The ASU had it for 32 minutes and 29 seconds. Tech had it for 27 minutes and 31 seconds. As for first downs, there was 60 first downs in the game.
Dude, yes, I saw that too. I was like,
That was nuts.
60 first
Right,
downs.
that's ridiculous.
33 for Tech, 27 for ASU.
Absolutely. And third down efficiency, kind of not a great game for either team, but decent stats. Tech was 6 for 11 and ASU was 7 for 16. On fourth downs, ASU was 2 for 3. That one that they missed was at the end of the game when it was incomplete.
Yeah, so that was like the last play of the
Right.
game where he's trying to throw it deep, and so we did not get a fourth down and short stop.
Who was right about that? This guy. Hey-o.
You were right about that. Yeah, we'll definitely get to that.
But
That's crazy. We also didn't convert a fourth down attempt.
right.
And I really wanted to see Nisby running
get up,
downhill.
yeah.
But we had Stockton on that little swing pass, and the one time we did attempt it, and it just did not work.
Now, to kind of break the team down further, the ASU rushing. They had two guys that were prominent in this game. Balaj, I thought his name sounded like baloney. I was wrong. So Balaj had 16 carries, 56 yards, and 1 touchdown. For his longest run was 14. I will take those stats all day long.
Oh, me too.
All day long.
It was like there was no person that really
Right.
dominated us. Number one looked like he
Yeah.
was N'Keal Harry like the whole time, but when you look back on it, he had 1 touchdown.
Right.
And the yards weren't even that big. So it was like it was spread out perfectly to all these
Right.
different people.
And if you compare him to that's to last year. Last year he had 13 carries for 137 yards and 7 touchdowns. The other prominent guy that I have down here is Richard. I don't know his first name, but his last name is Richard.
Okay. Running back.
15 carries for 53 yards, 1 touchdown. His long was 10. As compared to last year, he had 30 carries last year for 109 yards. 30 carries. When did that happen? I didn't see him even like I did. 30 is a lot for one guy.
But I mean, most of his carries we did hold him short. So
Right,
the
true.
biggest time when you notice a guy is when he makes one of those
Right.
break-free plays.
As for some ASU receiving, number one, like you just mentioned, Harry, he was the one guy, and you called several of his plays of the game.
Yeah, I was saying someone double cover him, bracket cover, whatever we have
Someone
to do.
who is not DJ Polite Bray cover him.
Yeah, we have a thing against DJ Polite
Right.
Bray. Not as a person, but well, I mean, maybe as a person.
Maybe.
That penalty he had was pretty bad.
But as for Harry, he had 13 receptions for 148 yards and 1 touchdown. His 1 touchdown tied the game at 45. It was a quick
It's
slant.
a beautiful slant pass.
It was amazing. That comes out to 11 yards per play. 28 was his longest pass play. And number 10, Williams. He had 7 receptions for 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 54 was his longest play. That comes out to 15.85 yards per play, which isn't bad. But besides number one, they didn't really have a dominant presence in it.
Yeah, there was
anyway.
no 7 touchdown
Right.
or 8 touchdown with the pass that Balaj got last year.
Right.
That was nuts.
As for some tight rushing, Stockton led the way for 12 carries, 47 yards, and 8 was his longest run. That comes out to a pretty minuscule 4 yards of play. Like in terms of if you could say I'll give you 4 yards of play every play, I'll take that. But he
Yeah.
was not consistent at all. As for
So-
Nisby, go ahead.
It was pretty astounding to me that they kept Stockton in so
Right.
much of the game.
On
Like I
those
get
third shorts.
he's been there the longest, so I guess he
Right.
understands where to block and what to do on certain plays. But man, it was almost as if we said it's Stockton
Right.
or nobody.
But
at
you
this
know,
game.
you don't have to block if you just run over people.
That's what I think too.
Right.
You got a guy slip out of the backfield and break a tackle.
Right.
That's even more effective. The quarterback can dump it too. Okay, you want me to run through some stats that I have as well?
Okay.
Okay, there were 2 times in the game that we were up by 18. The second time being 42-24 in the third quarter. We had a chance to step on their throats and finish them, but we just did not pull away. So there was some ways in this game felt like we had the potential to really like blow it open. This I like to say this was your typical Tech game because there's 1,109 total yards of offense in the game, which is really fun to be there for, but also very stressful.
Right.
Nick Shimanek came through clutch.
Oh yeah.
Like
for
legit
sure.
clutch.
For
and
sure.
he showed that he is a 5th-year senior. He was calm. He brought the line together and said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to march down the field. Calmed everybody down. He finished, he has a 94.2 quarterback rating.
Pretty good.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And here's something you might not know. Shimanek leads the FBS with 463.5 yards
I saw
per
that
game.
on Facebook the other day. Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
So, a few other things I noticed. Defensive lineman Mike Thomas had a game.
Yes.
Like-
recovered a fumble. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, he was just disruptive all game. And there's a play towards the end, I think, where he comes out of the line and turns around and
Right.
catches a guy. He was about to get a first down and like a
Yeah.
major stop in the fourth
Yep.
quarter. A lineman catches a running back out of the backfield. It was nuts, and he looks so much better shape than he was in last year. He's lost a lot of weight, and
Right.
he just looks athletic. Dylan Cantrell is the best hands on our team.
Oh, absolutely. No question.
That's
about
not
it.
a hot take.
By far.
That's just straight up.
That's facts.
He can catch anything. He even
Yeah.
earned a spot on ESPN's top 10 plays at number 4 on
And
Saturday.
I think we had another play on there, number 7. I don't remember who it was, but it was a guy. It was a receiver, and it was when he did that double move and ran for a touchdown. He broke the guy's ankles out of his socks.
Cameron Batson.
Yes, he
Dude,
was
that
number
was-
7 on the top 10.
That was freaking awesome. And one thing I drew from this game is like something we hadn't seen in the past. All 4 of Tech's starting receivers not only can make big plays, but they can downfield block.
Right.
Like they're straight up setting up these plays that are small, and turning them into big plays because of these downfield blocks. I'm happy about this. A 1-to-1 turnover ratio.
Yeah, I'll take that all
Tech
day.
still sits
All
at plus
day.
3, which is totally fine by me.
Absolutely.
Tech had one defensive drive where penalties drove ASU down the field. And that was a free 7 points we gave them.
Right.
That's not a big deal.
Because we only had 6 penalties, and 4 of those came on that drive.
That's just one of those, we can fix that.
Right.
There's a lot of...
Although, not going to lie, I know this might not be a popular opinion, but that late hit was so worth it. He picked him up and planted him down. That was,
Gotta pay
flag,
him for the run sometimes,
but gosh, that was so much fun to watch.
For sure. Now, this is a big stat. The fumble on the 1 yard line from Nisby. You could say
That
it
was
was
a huge play.
You could say it was a 14-point
Oh,
swing.
absolutely.
Because instead of us scoring 7,
went
the other
straight
team
down
goes
the
down
field.
the field
Absolutely.
and scores. It changed the momentum. It was first and goal. If he would have just gone down or tried to just drive his legs, he probably would have made it. But he would have gotten at the very next play and finished the drive. That would be all right. Here's something that was pretty cool. I had to look up. Nisby had 6 fumbles last year at Diablo Valley Community College. And I really hope that trend changes, but hopefully there's no more crazy fumbles like that end up doing a 14-point swing. All right, do you have any other notes from that game, the ASU game?
Yeah, a few. Just some stat lines and some quick notes that I made. Kiki Cutie led the receiving corps with 12 receptions,
So fast.
He's freaking beast. 12 receptions, 186 yards, 1 touchdown, 47 was as long. That comes out to a whopping 15.5 yards a play. Cantrell, who had the game-winning touchdown on a 3-yard carry, also had 8 receptions for 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, 35 was his longest play, and it comes out to 20 yards of play. Cameron Baston, who left some...
There were some ankles that are still on the field. They're broken so
I
bad.
love that saying. He had 6 receptions for 60 yards, 1 touchdown, 16 was long, and by my elementary math, that comes out to 10 yards of play. Willies, who is one of the fastest guys on our team, only had 4 receptions, 56 yards, and a touchdown, but hey, he had a touchdown.
That was a professional move he made on that corner.
Oh, it was nutty.
To make him dive at a ball that wasn't there and then just walk into the end zone.
As for some defensive stat lines, our top 3 tacklers, Brooks, he had 13 total tackles, 18 solo.
Dude, I watched the game film.
Yeah.
And Brooks was in on everything.
He was. 13, are you kidding me?
It's legit. He's legit size and
Right.
legit playing skill too.
Johnson had 12 total tackles for 9 solos. And Dakota Allen, our BFF over here, 9 total tackles, 4 solo, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for loss.
We welcomed him back with arms wide open.
Right. As for special teams, Hatfield was 5 for 5 on extra points. Barden was 1 for 1 on field goals. He had a 39-yarder, and Panazzolo. Sorry, I almost mispronounced that.
Dominique.
3 punts. I'm sorry, for 118 yards, and his long was 40. It wasn't as dominant a performance as Eastern Washington, because I think it's probably because we were backed up more, because we couldn't stick it in. But a lot of them were just kind of punts.
Yeah, I don't think he did one inside the 10 like he did before.
As for some other game notes, another slow start for Tech's offense. I'm not a fan of starting out the game on 3 and outs. We had 2 against Eastern Washington, and we started.
Yeah, it drives me nuts, man.
Right.
Because we're such a high-powered offense, getting to a slow start could be
just
a
getting
problem.
into rhythm. However, ASU took the lead with 7:48 left in the first quarter, and after that, it'd be the only lead of their only lead of the game. If ASU would have made and this is something that I didn't think about.
So many things could have changed everything.
Right. If ASU would have made the field goal that they missed on the opening drive, that game could have been a lot more nerve-wracking than it was.
We could be down 3 with the ball driving down the field.
I don't like that at all.
And that's a different field than tied and with the chance to win it.
Tech scored its first touchdown with 4:25 left in the first. Never looked back. It was tied 45 all, but Tech never trailed again. This is crazy stat. ASU's offense heated up quick. After they scored the first touchdown with 11:42 left in the second, including that drive, they finished the game going touchdown, punt, halftime, touchdown, punt, down, end of the game.
Wow.
They heated up like nobody's business right there. As for the penalties, like I mentioned, Tech had 6 penalties for 67 yards. 4 of them came on 1 drive. ASU's penalties were 4 for 37 yards. Like you said, The Nisby fumble was a 14-point swing. I had that down as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And, it was, and we mentioned it quickly, but there was a gutsy call in that game winner. When you have Stockton and Nisby in the back, and you do a little like pitch swing pass.
Did you see Cliff's face?
Cliff was
He was
fired
straight.
up.
He was pretty straight faced though. Like
Right.
he does his play and he just holds up one finger. He's like, "All right, we're going for one." And I was like, "What?"
Right.
I'd be jumping up and down. Another thing that I noticed that was pretty cool, and I'll let you finish those stats right after. But Shimanek, I was looking at like the replay, like, and he throws this pretty good pass to Kiki, who gets open maybe 40 yards down the field or something.
Right.
But he kind of underthrew him.
Right, I saw that too.
And you could see he was visibly upset
and
at himself.
I think it was coming right to our section too. I think it was right in front of us where he caught it.
Yeah, right where he caught it was closer to where we were sitting. But what I found I found that really good because a quarterback that makes a good play but isn't happy with good, he wants
Right,
great.
absolutely.
And so that's what I want to see in our offense.
And I always seem to have a rant about the crowd.
What's it this week?
It's a rant, but I get that it was rainy and girls in their white shirts don't want to be in the rain. I wonder why. It's fine. And
Our one girl listener is offended
right
now.
there was. I hope we have more than that. I hope it's not just a big sausage fest. It's fine.
Whoa. Unfiltered.
I get that there was a rain delay. It was a night game. Everyone was hyped. There was word that it could have started at 9, which would have meant the game was over about at 1 in the morning, which is late.
Yeah.
But I don't care if it starts. I was telling people I don't care if it starts at 2 a.m. I'm saying the whole dang time. I waited too long to miss a game.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. We got that poster stay the whole game.
But a lot of it was clear that not as many people came after the rain delay as were there before it. But I'm telling you what, that crowd at the beginning of that game,
It was still
so. I was going nuts, although I'm always going nuts. But I was so freaking hyped.
Dude, I have a
Oh
video.
my gosh.
I have the video on YouTube of the whole game clip,
Uh-huh.
and I found one of you jumping up and down, like celebrating. I can show it to you
Micah
later.
had bruises on his arm from me punching him, and for me like because I fall over a lot
getting
when I
hyped.
jump. So I use his shoulder as like a dismount.
To balance as well.
Right. But and another thing, I thought Nick was going to come in with story time for this one, but that last drive of the game, playing defense, just trying to stop him, was like a freaking movie with that rain.
Yes. Okay.
I could not believe
If
that.
you watched this game on TV, you did not notice this,
No,
most
right.
likely. But
because it was faint rain, but it was just enough to make it a lot more intense.
so this rain that happened that caused the rain delay at the beginning happened right before Arizona State gets the ball
Right.
with the chance to drive at the very end. And that rain makes the ball a little wetter.
Right.
It changes like the momentum. Like people are jumping up and
It
down.
changed the crowd. The crowd
Yeah,
was
the-
getting hyped.
The crowd was getting excited just because,
Right.
man, when the other team's the devil, God's on
Yeah.
your side,
And I mean, and then it ended right when we got the ball back
Yeah.
to
It was
take the last 2 snaps or whatever it was.
it was kind of a head scratcher.
Right.
Like,
And-
wow.
and, like,
thank you.
It's part of my thing about the fans is that they kind of got lulled to sleep. We were up for the majority of the game.
Yeah, they got complacent.
They
we're
did,
good.
Right. Like I mean, I'll admit,
I was pretty optimistic.
it was I
sure.
was just chilling there. I mean, I was cheering. I'm never chill, but I was chilling there for lack of a better term.
There was less stress
Right.
in the
And,
crowd.
and I was sitting there, and at one point I look at the scoreboard and I go, "It's 38-45. That's a 1-score game." Like
when you said that, I was like, no.
right, because
You're right.
like it was. I thought we were in control of the whole thing, but clearly we were not because it was much more stressful than that. Also, John, I want to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
What is the first thing that comes to your mind when I say Big 12 refs?
Bad officiating is the first thing that comes. Actually, the first thing specifically is targeting calls that are too
Yes.
much.
Yes.
Like calls that are trying to make the game softer.
Because there were some garbage PIs, pass interference calls in that game.
Pass interference too. It's very offensive minded.
Because apparently I read this on a blog, but apparently there was a play where Nisby had a helmet to helmet. And they
Yeah,
didn't
the
call
guy
it.
come in with
I
the-
didn't see
It was
that.
when we were driving. It was the play right before the Cantrell touchdown.
Oh really?
And the guy came in with the top of his head, left his feet, and launched into the face mask of
Really?
Nisby and like knocked his head completely back. And like it was really
Right.
obvious. And the ref was standing right there and he didn't call it. And I was
They,
like, that was like straight
Right.
SEC calling for the other one, and for us we get the Big 12 calls.
I mean, they call pass interference penalties that are 5 yards uncatchable, and then miss blatant ones like that. It's
I mean, the
just
announcers
nuts.
were saying that should be targeting.
Right.
And when the announcers are saying that, like
Right.
they reviewed a Mason Reed targeting that wasn't even targeting.
I find it so funny. There was that Cantrell. I don't remember when in the game this was. I think it was right towards the end of the fourth quarter. Cantrell had that pass play that he landed like 2 yards out of bounds, and they reviewed it. Remember that?
Yeah. I was like, that's not one you review, but you can review the guy
That's so
diving into
funny.
Nisby's
Right.
face next time, maybe. Yeah, for sure.
See, I
I have a rant about that too.
I'm nervous coming into Houston because I don't know what defense we're getting. I mean,
We don't know what offense we're getting either.
well,
Because we've had some slow starts. We've had some weird
slow
lulls
starts,
in the middle.
but we've been consistent in heating up.
Yeah.
So
I'd
I'm not as worried about the offense, but the defense. Are we gonna get the Eastern Washington defense?
If the game's on the line and Tech has the ball towards the end, it makes me feel a whole lot better.
Gibbs. I'm sorry.
David Gibbs.
Gibbs. I have a feeling that this is his year to prove something. He already has, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, we let up 45, but
Okay, but think about it. They scored 68 last year.
Right.
If we take every team we play and we subtract 23 points from the score they had against us,
we'd be like 8-4.
we'd win more than 8-4.
I think we lost 4
Yeah.
games of a one-score game.
I mean, we'd be at least like, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
we'd
think we
be-
lost any games much
I
worse
think
than
we'd
that.
be 8-4, 9-3 if we did that. That's nuts.
Yeah, we'd be 8-4 if we got 8 more points a game,
Right.
or let them score 8 less points a game.
Props to David Gibbs. He's showing out right now. But other than that, unless you have another nugget on ASU, that's all for my stats.
The next
and
segment
mines.
I'm ready to do is reviewing rapid fire questions from last week.
I probably sucked it up. But that's fine.
You are a huge nerd.
So that's what I got here. 56. Okay, so does Tech run more times than they pass? You said no, which is correct. So you're starting out good. Shimonek's completion percentage over 75%.
This surprised me.
And you said no, and he had 78%.
That
so,
surprised me.
So he did get a little bit better
Right.
than he had before. Let's see. Will Dominic Panazzolo spot kick footballs inside the 10? You said yes, which is incorrect.
Dang.
I said if we win, will Tech cover the spread? And at the time, it was 6.5. And you said yes.
I thought we were going to win by like 21 points.
So we did win by the spread, 6.5 at the time I said that, and so that's correct. Can Tech get a safety? You said no. That was a little ambitious. That was correct. Which I guess we shouldn't celebrate about, but it's still good.
Right.
And you said does Tech get a 4th and short stop? You said no, which is correct as well
Correct.
because
Yes,
our
sir.
4th down stop was a 4th and long. I think it was like 4th and 10 plus.
Right.
Will Texas Tech score 50 points? You said no, which is incorrect, and I'm very excited about the
Right.
fact that
Hey,
you were wrong about
absolutely.
that one. You got 4 of 7 of those correct, which is a good thing because Nick and the offense performed much
But
better than
They
expected.
broke your little 38 points allowed bubble.
Yeah, that was my goal. So they didn't quite meet the goal that time. So now I want to go through reviewing the over-under from last week.
Okay.
Drew, you didn't do too well on this either.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm sorry.
I do better in class.
Yeah. Okay. So I asked if Texas Tech gives up four sacks. You said under. And you're right. We gave up 3 sacks, which is good. It's fine.
Dang.
Nisby breaks 100 yards rushing.
Damn, I thought it was a lock, but
I thought
okay.
so too. You said over, and he gave up 45. He got 45 yards rushing. Tech scores 50 points. You said under, and it's wrong. Tech put up 52, which is kind of what I said before. Kalen Ballar's 3 touchdowns. You said under. I thought it was going to be a push, but that was right. He only scored 1, which makes me feel so much better.
Let's go.
That's a telling stat right there. 70 total points is in like the whole Tech and Arizona State. You said over, and you were right. It was 97 total points.
Which is
Always. Here's what I've learned. Always bet the over
right.
on Tech.
Right.
They just
See, I never bet on Tech because you don't bet with your heart, but yeah.
yeah, for sure. But Tech recovers 2 turnovers. You said push. Wrong.
Dang.
We only got 1. But man, we could have gotten 2.
Right.
ASU 400 total yards of offense. You said under. Unfortunately, they got 494
Yeah,
yards.
that's fine.
So you got 3 out of 8 of those
Boo-hoo.
right. Cool. So now I want to review our score predictions. I said 59-38. So I got both of the scores off by
Pretty
7.
good. Pretty
So
good.
I feel pretty good about that. 14
Yeah.
total points off. You said 45-30, which was 7 off for Tech, 15 off for ASU.
30 was optimistic.
But here's what's really cool. Together, we nailed Tech score. You were 7 too low. I was 7
All right,
too
look
high.
at that. All right.
So all you got to do is average our
Right.
scores for this week, and maybe we'll get the score for next week.
Vegas doesn't work that way.
And then we missed ASU by 11. So I'd say like overall, like honestly, that's not bad at all.
For sure.
Are you ready for the feature game this week? We are playing University of Houston, and this is the University of Houston preview notes.
Let me check my pacemaker.
Oh man, it's time to wake up. 11 a.m.
Still works.
game.
Jeez.
My goodness.
I'll be up by like
get
8.
up early. You know they have to get up like 4 hours before the game to do all their pregame.
Because I'll be up at 8 to watch game
If you're
day
up,
at 9.
if you're up till 2 in the morning, like some of these college kids are.
Oh, not
like-
if you're disciplined as a team.
But you see some of them like posting on Instagram at like 2
Right,
o'clock in the
true,
morning, and you're
true.
like, yeah, you
For
weren't
sure.
sleeping, and so they're getting maybe like 4 or 5 hours of sleep before the game. So I'm really hoping they do go to bed early, and it is 11 a.m. kickoff time in Houston.
I think early road games are wow. Okay, I think early games are better for the road team because you get in, get your business done, and get out. Like that's a day trip for them.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a different vibe.
Right.
The home crowd advantage is less in
Yeah,
most cases, but Tech has
absolutely.
also struggled in morning games.
I don't know what they expect from the crowd. That crowd is rowdy, but I mean it's 11. I mean even Tech fans don't show up much for 11 a.m. games, and we're some of the best fans in the land.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
Right.
So it's 11 a.m. kickoff time in Houston. It's going to be televised on ABC or ESPN2, depending on where you are in the
Really?
nation.
Okay.
Probably
Nice.
ABC in Lubbock. TDECU Stadium capacity is 40,000.
Also, shout out if y'all want to come over to watch the game, hit me up my address.
Sweet. U of H has a 6-point line. Last time I checked, that was Monday. And ESPN gives U of H a 52.5 chance of winning, which is not as much as you'd expect for a 6-point line. Kyle Allen.
I don't think they'll cover, but that's just man.
You don't think they'll cover?
Well,
I
I'll save my prediction for
Yeah,
later.
save
but
your
I don't
prediction.
think they cover.
But I agree. Kyle Allen has not looked as great as we would have thought he would, coming out as the number 1 quarterback in the whole nation a few years ago. All that stuff with Kyle Allen leaving Texas A&M.
Right.
So far, despite an 86% completion percentage, he has only 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Nice.
Those are not the kind of stats of a world beater. That's
Not
a
at all.
58.3 quarterback rating.
Right.
So he hasn't shown anything to be a world beater on that. Duke Catalan, he's their running back, one of their running backs. He averages 4+ yards per attempt, but only has 1 touchdown so far in the season. But he's a guy to watch out for. We have Linnell Bonner, I think is how you pronounce his name, Linnell Bonner. He's a good receiver. All the receivers basically are over 6 feet tall,
That's
which I thought
ridiculous.
was kind of a scary
Right.
stat. But we do have defensive backs now that are 6 feet and taller,
Right.
not like Nigel Bethel 5'8" or whatever we used to have. So that makes me feel a little better. They have, they have a good defense. They held Arizona.
Yeah.
We don't know how good, but they held Arizona to 16 points. And Arizona in the other 2 games, granted it was Northern Arizona and UTEP the games they played, but they scored 60 in both of those games. Putting up 60 points is nothing to shout at.
Nothing
And,
to John.
And so U of H has a good defense. And worry about Dunbar as well. He's another guy that's a tall receiver, 88. He's going to be trouble. About their defense, I have that U of H allows 9.5 points per game, which is 7th nationally. 9.5.
That's a scary stat.
That is a scary stat. But they did defeat Rice.
Right.
Rice only scored like 3 points, and they were pretty bad. I watched some of that film as well. They averaged 28.5 points on offense, which will probably go up in my prediction after this game, just personally. 32nd ranked pass offense, 91st ranked rush offense with 289
Wow.
and 144 yards
Okay.
per game. So that's what I got on University of Houston, just some interesting stuff about them. Do you have any stuff like before we get into fun facts about Houston?
I have one key to the game.
Okay.
Now, I know we're not there yet, but it's obvious. I titled it
What do we need to do?
Ed freaking Oliver.
What do we need
This
to do
guy,
with him?
shut him down, tear something on his body that doesn't make him out for the season.
He's a defensive tackle for U of H.
He's a defensive tackle for U of H. Number 10, you'll get very familiar with him because he might be in our backfield a
Oh,
lot.
I sure hope we don't. I hope we
He-
don't see his number too much.
He's 6'3", 290. I think we brought it up in a previous podcast. He's the first consensus 5-star recruit to go to a non-Power 5 school.
Yeah, nuts.
As a freshman, he had 47 tackles, and 23 of those were tackles for losses. I don't have his stats for his sophomore year yet, but
one thing we've noticed,
well.
one thing we've noticed about him is a lot of times when people have this big freshman year and they show out,
Right.
you see a big drop off in the sophomore year. But his approach and his aggressiveness has not changed when playing the game, which is probably what makes us most terrified
Right.
about him.
And I was wrong. I thought he lined up on Shimonek's left. He actually is in the middle, so it'll be middle penetration. If I don't know, we don't really know how to judge our O-line yet.
We either need to get the pocket moving or need to hold this guy.
Because Shimonek might not survive for OSU. In my opinion, I'm terrified.
To make it to the next game.
As for stuff that you might not have written down, Houston special teams averages 46 yards per return. So watch out.
Wow.
46 yards per return.
Then I have one response to that. Touchback.
Yes, touchback Barden, please.
Thank you.
As for the all-time series, Houston. Let me bring up a page that I had on my phone.
Yes, I didn't actually look that up.
All-time series, Houston has the edge. They're leading at 18, 11, and 1. 18 wins, 11 losses, and 1 tie. Last meeting was in 2010. Tech won that. Biggest margin of victory in the series. For Tech, it was 1993. They won 58-7. For Houston, it was 1977. They won 45-7. Longest win streak for Tech was 5 from 91 to 95. Longest win streak for Houston was 7 from 79 to 85. That is 6. Anyway, it's fine.
We'll keep the win streak going, hopefully.
Right.
For
And
Tech.
bowl games, Tech has had 37. Houston has had 24. What's some other? Houston has had a Heisman winner. I couldn't pull his name out, but they have had a Heisman winner, if I can talk right.
Yeah.
That's some fun facts about that. As far as the game, I wrote down not a scary offense, but worried about our O-line because I'm telling you,
Yes.
Ed Oliver's only one guy, but if you don't watch out, he can bring down our entire team.
We need to
Right.
double cover him quite a bit of the game.
Loud crowd. Their stadium only. I thought it was 40,000. Their stadium actually only holds 35,000. But it sounds like 100,000. I'm telling you, it will. It will be the loudest 35K you'll ever hear in your life.
They pack in there. Even in a morning game, I feel like there'll be a pretty good crowd because we are a Division I opponent for sure.
And then I think the road team for early games has the advantage, but that doesn't mean anything until you play the game. Here is something that is quite a hot button topic for Tech fans. Tommy Tuberville.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Tommy
Especially with the
Tuberville
broadcasting.
is announcing the game for U of H.
They called him like the color announcer or something like that. Adding some texture.
If you're watching the game like I will Saturday, he might lead the game for a better job at halftime because that's a joke for people who know.
He walked out on some recruits while they were eating with him.
While they were eating, walked out on
Tech
a recruit
recruits.
dinner to take another job, or to quit, or one of those two. You quit to get another new job.
I don't know how you could allow him to be the announcer. What is ESPN doing here? That's kinda
I
nuts.
don't know. I really don't. I mean. And Cliff, I posted on my Facebook, but Cliff had a funny response.
Yes, he did.
I don't see how when the whole Adam James and Leach thing was happening, they banned Craig James, his father, from announcing Tech games. So I get that it isn't as deep of a hatred for each other as like a kid and his son or a dad and his son. It's just it isn't as instinctual because the dad's always going to protect his son. It's more just animosity. I don't see how they let him do that, but I hope we win. We shut his face with our fists in his face. But what are your thoughts on Tommy Tuberville? This guy, by the way, was a guy who I don't remember how it was recently. He compared Lubbock to Iraq, which got on a lot of people's bad side real quick.
Basically, he didn't like being there.
Right.
And he made it very clear, and he pretty much...
He kind of took down our program from the inside out.
He's the second least liked person in Lubbock than Baker Mayfield right now.
And his only signature win was in 2013 at home against West Virginia. West Virginia was a top 10 team at the time. I remember I was at that game. It was for my orientation freshman year. I am old. It's fine. and people don't like him because he just didn't run things smart. He set our recruiting
Efforts
back like 3-4 years.
Yeah,
he really
for sure.
did.
And a few things about Tuberville. The reason that we hired him is that I guess some of the higher ups at Tech really wanted someone that's more of a politician figure.
Right.
This person that would say things the right way and thank you for the other team for playing so well
Right.
and thank you for beating us. Like whatever crap that
He
is.
was always,
Leach was very
I
to the
never
point.
liked him. Have you seen some of Leach's press conferences?
Dude, I'm loving
They
that.
are so like
Those stuff.
95% of them aren't about football. They're just random questions.
They
from
asked
the
him
press.
about aliens. That was
Right.
pretty funny.
They asked him about what kind of band he'd be in, and he responds with, "Well, am I on tour or is it like Trash in a Hotel Room kind of band?" And I was like, "You're ridiculous!" Like,
Dude, Mike Leach is so much fun to listen to.
he's fantastic.
And what I think is funny about that is Tuberville's really boring. And like,
Yeah,
and like,
yeah,
why would
for
you have
sure.
Tuberville in as your color announcer?
Right.
Like the person that's
No,
supposed to bring the
I
character.
don't know who he's
to it.
partnered with. I haven't looked that far into it, but he obviously has somebody in the booth with him.
Is he homeless yet? Like what?
He's jobless. I know that.
He's jobless. What's up with this guy? Anyway, we don't like that he's in the booth.
Right.
He's very biased against Tech.
Very much so.
And so-
It's gonna be interesting to see how he covers it up during the game.
But all we need to do is put another chip on our shoulder. So
All we
play
need to do
better.
is win, so we can't say anything negative about us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. It's just a bad idea to have Tuberville there. Are you ready for fun facts about University of Houston?
Go for it. Knock yourself out. Please don't. Actually, that'd be a problem.
No, that would actually like be pretty bad. But with no further ado, your favorite segment introduction. This is fun facts about University of Houston.
Love that.
Okay, so my first fun fact. This is more just like me venting real quick. U of H was my backup school. They were my
Okay.
safety school that I applied to in case I didn't get anywhere else.
And then he learned a good lesson, didn't you?
And then they rejected me.
No.
So I was rejected by my backup school. So I have a little chip on my shoulder against U of H. I wouldn't have gone there because I got
Are you
into
going to the
Tech.
game or are you not?
No, I'm not going to go to
Okay,
the game.
I thought you said at one point you might have been.
I was definitely planning on it, and then the 11 a.m. kickoff time came
Right,
out, and I
for
was
sure,
like, I'm
for
going to
sure.
drive up there. Probably have to leave that day, come all the way back.
Right.
And I was like, no,
Nah.
it's not hype at
Right.
11 a.m. game, so I decided not to do that. Every Friday, the students at U of H are encouraged to wear Cougar Red, so they kind of have like a college day. I have a cousin that goes there.
Are
and
there
just
some old
a lot of
women
people.
on campus? Cougar Red? It's fine.
That's funny.
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered. Now here's the bulk of the research that I did that I thought was really cool. So their mascot, her name is Shasta. It's a real cougar.
Why does that name ring a bell?
Well, I'll tell you the story of how
that name
how it
reminded me of
got
somebody.
its-
If I don't know what it was.
So I'll tell you the story of how this happened. So
Lost it.
it's a real cougar. They keep her at the University of Houston Zoo now. I believe they sponsor her.
So I just remember what it reminds me of Sasha, the lion from Aladdin.
Yeah?
Yeah,
But,
okay,
but
that's what I was
the reason this got his name was the thing that I thought was really funny. So they had a naming contest, and the winner was a guy named Joel Randall, and he got to name her because his name was the best, which is ironic because it's not a great naming thing. But so he goes, Shasta comes from the words she has two. So you put the words she has two together, and it's Shasta.
Huh. Okay.
So that's how they got the name, right?
What does she have to do?
So this is what he famously said. Yeah, this is why the name caught
so
on.
funny.
He said, Shasta have a cage, Shasta have a keeper,
Huh.
Shasta have a winning football club, Shasta have the best. And so
That's pretty cool, actually.
and so
not gonna lie.
people rallied around this
Right.
idea of this mascot named Shasta. Now they have, of course, they have like a person in a suit,
right.
in a cougar suit, basically. And apparently,
And she
there's
has to wear the costume. Get
Shasta,
it? Ha ha.
Shasta wear the costume, but it's a guy, and there's a girl mascot as a companion, which I find is kind of weird. So they have like a girl and guy cougar
Florida
companion.
has the same thing. It's Albert and Alberta.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have that, and they're on their 6th one at the zoo. So Shasta, long live Shasta the 6th for them.
Wow. All right.
So that's basically just
That's pretty cool, actually.
that's all the fun facts. The other thing I had was that their undergrad is about 36,000, and I looked it up, and Tech's undergrad's about 30,000. I thought it was
Alright.
36 too, but
It's funny how the undergrad could fill their stadium.
yeah,
That blows my mind.
it's
Like,
they're
I'm
a
telling
big
you,
fan base.
it's-
You'd be
it's-
surprised.
It's a small stadium, but they pack that thing and make it loud.
And there's a lot of Cougar faithful, man.
Right.
Yeah, my cousin's a big University of Houston fan, I'll definitely hit him up and talk some trash about this game. No, actually, I'll maybe talk trash after. But this next segment is one of our favorites.
Yes, sir.
And
I don't even know what's coming up, but I like it.
You already know what's coming up because it's rapid fire questions.
Snap.
Rapid fire questions. All right, so these questions you're going to answer either yes
already.
or no, and I need to do this as well. So I'll fire off a question and then ask you, and I'll say my response as well. All right, so here we go. Cliff has a big smile / celebration after a successful play call.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to go yes as well. Tortillas will fly in Houston.
No.
Yes or no?
Like none or any. If I'm taking none or any, I'll go yes because I bet there's at least one flying.
All right. I'm going to say that there are tortillas flying in Houston. Tech offense has a 50-plus yard touchdown, so a long touchdown.
Ooh.
Yes or no?
Oh, I like that. I'm gonna go yes.
Yes. I'm going to go yes as well. Nick
Copycat.
Shimanek keeps his jersey clean for the first quarter. No sacks for one quarter.
Oh. Oh, it hurts me because Ed Oliver is in the back of my head like a mosquito flying on
Okay, what do you
my
think?
brain.
Jersey clean for the first quarter. What do you think?
Does that include his own blood? I'm kidding. Dang. Yes, sure.
I'm going to go no on that.
Oh, John, dang it.
Will Tech's first drive be a touchdown?
No, they haven't shown it yet.
I'm going to go with yes.
All right. Okay.
We're going to separate that. Okay. Will Tech remain perfect in making extra points?
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
7 for 7.
Will there be a targeting call in this game?
No.
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay. Hopefully it's Ed Oliver.
Will Cantrell make another ridiculous one-handed catch?
Why not?
I'm going to go yes.
Okay, good.
Will Batson juke anybody
Now-
out of
now,
their
hold on.
shoes?
Let's add a little cork in that last one. Is
Okay.
it a fancy one-handed catch, is it in a clutch time?
I'm going to say yes because the whole game's clutch when it's close.
Did I say yes at all to this one?
You
Yeah, I said why not. So I'll
Yes.
say it's not on a clutch time, but I say it's what we need to get the drive going.
All right. So yes. Will Batson juke anybody out of their shoes is the second one.
I hope so. Let's go yes.
Yes. Okay.
That was.
Will a
the
referee pick up a flag after obviously throwing it in a crucial moment? Sorry,
Wait.
guys. I just needed to vent
We're
for a
not
second.
biased at all. I promise.
Because, man, there was a flag pulled back, and I'm going to go no because I
And
can't.
when you announce a holding and then take it back, it's like you either held or you didn't. Come on now.
Yeah, that's bad. Okay. Now, last one. Will Texas stop being an enigma already?
You have got to be kidding.
I'm sorry.
is
but
happening
I'm
there?
I'm illiterate. I don't know what enigma means.
Will they stop being so unpredictable? We have no idea what to
Who,
say.
who do they play next week?
I don't know. It doesn't matter because they're going to be inconsistent.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go with that. I bet they. No matter who they play, I bet they underperform.
All right. That was my last one. But you know what that means. Rasta Horn, and you know what that
Hit
means.
that horse some more. Come on, hype me up. Let's go, baby.
This is over under push. Texas Tech scores 40 points.
Over.
I'm going to go over. Okay.
I would hope so. If we score
Tech-
under, I think we lose.
Tech holds U of H to 450 total yards.
Under.
I'm going to go over.
Really?
Tech wins the time of possession.
Their offense isn't that power. Anyway, what time possession? No, I think we're edged out just by a little bit on that
Okay,
one.
I'm under as well on that. Tech defense gets 2 picks.
Ooh.
Over under.
Under.
Okay, I'm gonna say push. I'm gonna say 2.
I was
actually.
leaning that way, but I'm just gonna lean towards a 1.
Okay. Let's see. Nisby rushes for 100 yards.
Dang it!
This one hurts me because
It hurt me last game.
I want to say yes.
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be not that we're putting like a range on it and see who's closest or not. But I bet he's gonna have 70 to 80.
Yeah, I have under as well. Kyle Allen throws 3 touchdowns.
How many did he have in the season so far?
3.
Then no, under.
I'm going to say push. I'm going to say 3.
Okay.
Well, I say the running backs will take care of the rest for any points they score after that.
Right.
Tech's run defense allows 4 yards an attempt. We're a little bit under 4 last game.
Oh.
But we allow 4 yards an attempt.
Push.
Okay, I'm going to say under.
Now, okay. So you say 4 yards an attempt. Is there a range for the push? Like, what?
No, it's just,
am I off by 0.2 or something? It counts.
don't pick a push on that one. Say over or under.
Dang it. Okay. I'll go over.
Okay, I'll go under. Tech is penalized for a total of 70 yards. That was about what we had
I
last
think it
game.
was 67 for this last game. 70 yards. With holding on Ed Oliver, I'll go over.
Okay, I'm going to go over as well. In the final one, Ed Oliver gets 2 sacks.
Oh, gosh. Push.
I'm going to go over.
Oh, you hurt me, John.
I'm going to say he gets 3, but he's one of the only ones that might get the sacks.
Right.
We didn't only give up 3 sacks last game, so if he gets 3 of 3, that's it. Okay, so hopefully this will work. Now moving on to Tech's recipe for victory.
Duh. Winning.
I love
Me too.
as John awkwardly types in something on his
Yes,
computer.
I'm making notes of where we are in this podcast. So my recipe for victory for Tech is I want us to impose a power run game early. I want us to use Mason Reed and Desmond Nisby. It's okay to have 2 in the backfield from time to time. It seems like Tech has really gone to a no back formation a lot, and it's okay to have 2 at a time. Use our tempo on offense to wear out the Houston defense. They're not used to playing 80-plus plays a game. And so I don't think with their recruiting levels that they're quite at the same level of recruiting as us into the depth. So I say if we stay strong for 80 plays, they're going to struggle. Get Nick in a rhythm will help him tune out probably a very rowdy crowd, even at 11 a.m.
Right. You got to.
So as soon as he starts getting into a rhythm, it doesn't matter what people are yelling at him.
Right.
It's not going to do anything. My third and final point is take advantage of any mistake by Kyle Allen.
Okay.
This year, he's thrown a few bad interceptions, like really bad ones. He has 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the year. When we do get an interception, if we do, we need 7 points on the next possession. So either score that on that play or get 7 because it's going to be hard to stop that U of H team.
You really think so? I don't think their offense is that potent.
I don't think that they're that potent. I just think that we are still early in the season, still figuring things out, and are going to allow some of those points. So now I made a time for hot takes. And here's what I got for hot takes.
Open the window.
Yeah. All right. Tell me if you have any hot takes.
Yeah, I thought of one that.
Okay, and then I'll tell you mine.
Jet Duffy.
Okay.
He will come in a goal line situation as almost like a less physical 18-wheeler package. You know how Texas has that
Really?
Swift package.
When are you predicting this to happen?
He will middle of the game.
This game against U of H?
This game.
You think Duffy's playing?
I think he comes in goal line situation to where we have the Nisby/Stockton option, or we have the Jet Duffy scrambling for the touchdown.
So you're talking like a multiple run game approach attack.
Like a read option with Duffy. Yeah.
But Duffy has the arm also to throw it if all those things close off.
Yeah, I think
that's interesting. That is a hot take.
I just burned myself a little bit, but I think that's an option. I think I've been hyping up Ed Oliver quite a bit, but I don't think he will be that big of a deal as long as we push him to the outside.
Dude, we hyped up Kalen Balaj and then we hold him to 1 touchdown.
Obviously, Ed Oliver lines up in the middle. I think just to the right of our nose tackle, and so Shimonek's slight left side. I think if we force him more to the outside, even if he gets around us with a swim move or whatever move you call that, Excuse me.
I think the ball will be out before he gets a full circle around.
If you force him to the edge, I think Shimanek will have time to get it out. So
He also is an interior rusher, so that would be a victory anyway.
Oh, and if Ed Oliver gets middle rush and you don't let Shimanek step into the throws, it's gonna be bad.
Dude, I'm worried about that bull rush technique. That's the main thing. Okay,
Um,
hot takes. Anything else? Or you could think of some as well when I say mine.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, hot takes. Dylan Cantrell is on an NFL 53-man roster by this time next year.
That's pretty safe in my mind.
After his game, he's almost like, I don't know. He could even have not a great year and still do that.
He's almost like a smaller Jason Amaro. Jason Amaro.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, freshmen or sophomores who are listening to this, Jason Amaro was.
He was kind of like a tight end receiver.
He wasn't on good teams, so he never got the credit, but he was one of the best tight ends we've had. He was a
second rounder to the Jets.
Right.
So, he's since been dismissed and moved to a different team.
I mean, the Jets suck. He didn't deserve to be on that team anyway.
He didn't fit the blocking package.
Right.
Because he's basically like a giant receiver that we lined up close to the middle.
But when we reference somebody to Jason Amaro, just know it's a compliment.
Yes, that is definitely a compliment. Ed Oliver is the best defensive tackle we will see all year.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's
better than like some like University of Oklahoma and other maybe Texas big lineman boys.
I think he's the best by far.
You think he's the best by far?
By far.
Man, my hot takes aren't too high right now.
He may not have the supporting cast, so it may have to be him or nothing. But I think he's the best individual talent we will face on defense all year.
All right. I guess I better turn up the heat on the hot takes. U of H will hold us to the fewest rushing yards we get all season.
Ooh.
That's a real hot take.
Oh.
They're going to hold us short in the rushing.
I don't like it, but
it's a hot take.
I feel you on there.
It's sizzling.
For sure.
Justin Stockton doesn't get the ball on 4th and short for the rest of the season.
Oh, dude. Hopefully, pray to God that he doesn't, because like you were upset at that game.
I was yelling, like, why do we have Stockton in? Like, we have Nisby freaking sitting on the sideline.
We have a yard to go,
shaking his head.
And we have a 230-pounder. Just go.
It wasn't that hard. But, if it would have worked out, we couldn't be complaining about it.
Right. That's a good way to look at it.
I mean, that's a way to look at it. But Tech will expose the U of H secondary and throw for over 400 yards against them.
Ooh.
Against this great defense that only allows 9 points a game.
Here's a hot take.
Have 400 yards. And I think this is probably a hotter take, U of H has 500 total yards in this game.
Dang,
that's a lot. That's more than
usually I like your hot takes because it's like pro Tech. I'm not liking your hot takes right now because it's making me worried about the game.
Wait till my prediction. Do you think?
I think that Shimanek will be not on the big board, but he will be in the Heisman discussion after this game. That's good. Yeah, let's go, baby. # Shimmy era.
Shimanek is very undervalued.
He is.
Because he's not the same playing style. He doesn't have the same
flash. He's not the flash. He
doesn't
doesn't have the scramblability, but he has those slight nuisance moves in the pocket that allows him to step into throws, and he looks kind of awkward when he's rolling out of the pocket.
He's very calm.
But yeah, absolutely, almost too calm, and I think that's why we start so slow because he's almost too calm. I noticed that last game. He was just kind of standing there all la-di-da in the pocket and then got rid of it. And didn't have any heat on it.
Yeah, it was almost like he was just kind of prancing around back in there. Which is very common of Tech, like Cliff Kingsbury quarterbacks. They're very, very calm.
Mahomes was kind of antsy on his feet, honestly.
Yeah, he was the one that...
He had to be because he was running for his life the whole time.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Yeah, man, there's so many hot takes that... we'll have so many more hot takes after the game, too.
Because this will be the game where we know what our team is like. Not 100%, but in terms of like knowing...
It's going to predict the rest of the season.
In terms of knowing our identity, what we do in this game will give us probably an 80% identifier as to how well the season is going to go. This game will define our season. It's not make or break if we lose or win, but in terms of how it's going to play out, this game is going to be huge in seeing what's going to happen the rest of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Any other hot takes before we move on to what really matters here?
I think I'm good. I'm all cooled off already.
All right, score prediction for U of H.
You go first. I don't have mine yet.
You don't have yours yet?
Yeah.
Are you going to use mine to make yours?
I might bounce off yours. I just got to think about it a little bit and see. And do you know what the over-unders on the points?
I do not have that pulled up. If we had
but
Scott,
the
who's not
line
here today.
is Houston plus 6.5 or minus 6.5 or 6.
It was 6 last time I checked, but I haven't checked today. So somewhere around there. Okay. I need to look up a YouTube video. Do you think you have a...
Yeah. I'm gonna make you happy on this. I mean,
Okay. But wait, are you stuck to your predictions at the beginning of the season?
frick you, John.
You don't have to, but I mean, things change.
Boy, my optimistic side takes me on a ride sometimes. I predicted on 7-5 on the season.
You predicted two of the first three games.
This was the first loss that I had in the books.
Okay.
Because I didn't know what I just didn't know. I didn't know that I didn't. I was skeptical about our O-line. I was skeptical about our defense. And granted, we don't have a good picture, but we have a better picture. It's kind of like a half Mona Lisa. I think.
Grounder up.
Yeah, what do you think?
45-35. Tech.
45-35. Well, our scores can't average to a perfect score because it's going to equal 0.5. So,
I'm not backing down.
You have 45-35?
Tech, yeah.
Tech winning. Okay, so here's mine. U of H just can't keep up with Tech's offense. So, I have 44-38. And I have Texas Tech winning, going on to a 3-0 start to the season.
44-38.
44-38. And I have us going on to Oklahoma State and on to Xerox.
If Shimnick's alive, honestly.
So here's what I got for this.
Of the day it is.
OSU becomes our focus.
Let's go,
the
baby.
Jones gets lit with the hope of breaking OSU's season, and the mystique finally returns to the Jones, where anything can happen.
I know we have another podcast after this before we get into OSU. Or I know the next podcast is the heavy OSU week. But for any of y'all who need to make plans or cancel plans to be at the game, it is a night game, 7 o'clock,
Do it.
primetime
Scott,
Fox.
I'm calling you out. Do it. Get off work.
7 o'clock at the Jones.
7 p.m.
Night game should be a blackout because Oklahoma State might not be top 5, but they will. But if they win, they'll for sure be top 10. So highly ranked opponent coming into a night game at the Rowdy Jones on a blackout. Dog, it's gonna be so freaking lit. I can't wait.
And that was the victory bells as well.
I can't freaking wait for that game.
Sweet. We'll definitely do a podcast to recap the U of H
Right.
game and go into that next week
But I'm
as
kind
well.
of scared about your prediction. I mean, that's a 7-point game.
Your prediction?
That's gonna leave me a little nervous in the fourth quarter.
Well, yeah. Every Tech game's a heart attack Tech game.
I'm telling you, West Texas folk are some of the most enduring people you know, because every like
They've been through a lot.
like John calls them heart attack Tech. They always leave you hanging and not knowing what's going to happen at the end of the game. So you had 44-38. I had 45-35. I just like not one score games. They make me nervous.
Yeah, both of those will be half point.
Right.
Point games, so we can't average them to get the exact score. But how do you feel about it, just overall? We're going to get the win. It's going to be a squeaker at the end.
I think it'll be close throughout.
Yeah.
We pull away second half of the fourth quarter.
I think there's going to be moments where we're like, we got this.
I think Houston won't, like you mentioned, the endurance and number of snaps. I don't think that they have endurance enough to keep up with our pass attack.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be moments where we feel like we're going to win and moments we feel like, man, I don't know if we have this.
Right. Just like 3 days ago.
Just like every other game,
Right.
basically all last season. Anyway, I think we're a better team than last year, and that's what puts us over U of H.
I would certainly hope so. Jeez. Granted, we don't have to see him next year because I don't think it's a home series. I don't think so. I think we only play him once.
I don't know. We could definitely look
Yeah.
into that for the review podcast.
But unless you got anything to add, I think I'm all footballed out, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, that was a pretty good podcast.
Absolutely.
So where can we find this again? And then who is sponsoring it?
Blue Apron is sponsoring it. I'm not sure how that's working quite yet, but I know we have an ad. As far as Blue Apron, they are a home delivery service, prepackaged, pre-portioned meals. You don't have to go get a whole jar of something if you just need a little dash of it. As I'm doing a little finger flick, you can't see that, it's on the radio. It's fine. Everything that needs to be refrigerated comes refrigerated. It's delivered right to your door. I was surprised because John's living at the Holly right now. I'm not living there anymore, but I ordered it when I was living here, and I thought they were gonna take it to the office, and I was gonna have to do all that garbage over there.
Yeah.
Right to your door.
Wow.
And so
even in an apartment.
So it's $10 per person per meal. There's several discounts if you listen to any of the various talk shows on sports, but we do not have a discount quite yet. We're not that high profile.
We'll talk to him.
Right. We'll slip at 20. No, I'm kidding. Thanks for our generous sponsors, Blue Apron, coming in clutch with some money more than we're making right now. But other than that, you can find this podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can either download individual episodes if you don't know what you're getting into, or if you want to test the waters. But if you love us enough to reach oh my gosh, full commitment, I want to marry y'all, it's fine.
Yeah, just subscribe. It's worth it.
Just subscribe. You'll grow into us
if you've listened to the whole thing. Subscribe.
Hopefully we don't know you too much. But you can find it on SoundCloud, iTunes. Android users probably have to go to SoundCloud. I know SoundCloud is not the most efficient way or the most convenient way to listen to it, but if you have Android, I'm sorry, you got to do that. Or if you don't know SoundCloud or don't know how to get there, you can go to my Facebook. It'll be on my Facebook as soon as I upload it. We're uploading this on Wednesday, September 20th. I'll probably have it uploaded by tonight. So it'll be your available for your viewing pleasure on your little Friday and your big Friday. But other than that, what are we forgetting? Games at 11 a.m. This is going to inform people, so I'm not going to say my address right now.
If you're in Houston, definitely go. If you're thinking about it.
Go if you're in Houston. And since we have a mass audience, I'm not going to say my address, but any 11 people, my house is open, 11 a.m.
Yeah, you can hit them up in the comment section.
Text me.
Actually, hit us up in the comment section if there's anything we can improve on for this podcast as well.
Any questions or concerns you got, or just, praise,
If you want to give us questions to talk about in the recap or things like that, you can also put that in the comments.
Or your own over-unders. I mean, we'd be curious to see what y'all think.
Yeah, definitely.
But as for that, we'll have a recap and a preview of OSU Wednesday. Wednesday is our big recording day, so that'll be pretty consistent unless notified otherwise, and I'll notify y'all otherwise if our schedule changes.
Yeah.
But other than that, this is the RBTL podcast. I am Andrew Parker with my host.
I am John Sterrett.
All right, and we will see y'all on Saturday, hopefully, at my house. All right, wreck 'em.
All right, wreck 'em.